All right, my darlings, welcome to this evening's Yin Yoga. I've been sort of talking with
Sorry,
you.
Alice, you are not on full screen mode, at least for me, though.
So what you need to do on the top right-hand corner, you're going to see a little square and it says
Yeah.
view, and then you can click
Yeah.
that speaker.
Okay, yeah, I did it.
Got it? There we go. And then I can trim that so that not everyone likes to be in recordings. Welcome to this evening's Yin. I can't believe we're in December now. I've actually got my hot water bottle here, keeping my tootsies warm. Well, as always, we're just going to be moving through a Yin practice with mindfulness, and I'm going to be doing some readings from my favorite Young Pueblo, two of his books that I absolutely love. But as it's the end of the year, you know, Yin is the season is winter, so it's this month of sort of the darkness, the coziness, the being really inward within ourselves. It's the time for reflection. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to read the ebook that I wrote. I actually wrote this last year, but a lot of it actually focuses on boundaries. And I know boundaries are such a it's been such a buzzword or such a trendy word of the last few years. But something that I like us to reflect on at the end of the year is thinking about our boundaries and thinking about if we are feeling depleted in our energy, or maybe if we are feeling restored in our energy. And our energy can be a really good indicator of where we have been with our boundaries. So, for example, what we'll be doing throughout practice, and I'll be sort of asking you reflective questions and things to contemplate on, is where are you at with your energy and your mood? So sometimes if our mood is maybe if we're feeling slightly short-tempered, maybe if we're feeling frustrated, maybe if we are feeling anxious, you know, maybe if we're a little bit confused about our clarity about the future and what our goals are for next year and where we see the next year going. And that can trigger a little bit of anxiety and uncertainty within us, which are all normal things to feel. But if we've been really leaky with our boundaries and that we've been too giving to the external world or too giving to others, saying yes when really we wanted to say no, and of course it being December and it being Christmas, and celebrating all the festivities, there's so much socializing that's involved, and we can kind of get caught up in this external way of being, which is the opposite of what Yin is. Not to say that we always have to be in the Yin during these months, but it's about finding that balance and about recognizing when you have been too much in the Yang or too much external or too leaky with those boundaries. So, you know, what I really like to do during this sort of end of year as we move into December is the practice is starting to think about the goals for next year. But in order to do that, we need to be in a place of grounding and clarity, and we need to feel really strong and rooted within ourselves in order to have that sense of clarity for ourselves moving forward. So what we're going to do in this practice, as always, we're just going to really try to soften into the body. We're going to try to let go of those initial thoughts that arise. And then as we move through the practice, I'm going to ask you a few questions and see if you can get really reflective and really honest with yourselves about where you are at. And maybe where you've let your power go, maybe with a client, maybe with work, maybe with family, maybe with a partner or a loved one. And it's just learning about how we can better support ourselves so that we can be really strong within ourselves moving forward, so that when we start to think about those goals and those activities, you know, for the year ahead, or resolutions as some call them, we can be in a place of clarity and strength and empowerment within ourselves as we look forward. Before we can even do that, we've got to get really calm and really grounded within ourselves. So we're going to begin our practice just bearing all that in mind. So coming to a comfortable seat. If you want to sit up on a block, then that can be much more comfortable. If you want to sit up on your shins, then please do. I'm going to ask that we do this practice seated. Normally I would give you the option to lie down if we were doing a body scan, but you know, we're doing a mindful meditation, so we want the mind to be alert whilst the body's relaxing. That's mindfulness. We're not in a yoga nidra or a completely restorative practice. Okay, just finding that comfortable seat. If you need to make any movements or any wriggles, if you want to adjust the block, if you want to get another layer. And I want you to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. Inhaling and exhaling. Make these breaths quite big. Last one. And releasing. And then just coming to stillness. And just starting to allow that awareness to arrive. So the thoughts are going to come, they're going to go. And feeling into your body. Feeling into the different sensations, whether physical or sound. Allowing your awareness to soften and settle into the present moment. So it can just take a couple of seconds or half a minute. Maybe your ears and the sound just move into the space around you. The corners, through the walls. Maybe you hear sounds in the street outside. Maybe you notice a little twitch in the body. Maybe you notice where the body feels a little bit cooler. Maybe you want to pull down the sleeve or cover yourself a little bit more just to get ever so slightly more comfortable. Maybe you start to feel some sensations in the back, a strain from sitting. Maybe you want to move the shoulders. Maybe you want to rise a little bit taller in the spine, adjusting the posture. We're just going to sit for a moment in silence. Letting the thoughts arise, letting them pass by, letting go of any attachment to what comes up. Becoming the observer of the thoughts. Because we notice and as we curiously watching the thoughts or watching the emotion or the mood that is attached. Noticing our subtle reactions to the stillness. Watching, observing without attachment. Now I'm going to invite you just to start to consciously deepen the breath now. So spend a few moments connecting to that stillness. And the breath can be our anchor just to help us ground us and center us a little bit more into the present moment. So just starting to deepen the breath, so taking an inhale up for a count of 4 or 5. Breathing deeply into the lower belly. Letting the stomach expand out, rib cage expand, perhaps the chest rises with it. Pausing at the top of the inhalation and then slow, steady exhalation out, releasing all of the air out of the body. Feeling as the stomach tilts back towards the spine. Perhaps you notice the shoulders drop. Inhaling again. Pausing at the top of the inhalation, exhaling out. We're just going to continue to do this for another minute. Finding a rhythm that works for you, and the idea is we just want to start to soften into the body, relaxing that nervous system. So channeling the awareness on the breath. So counting if it's useful, keeping your attention focused on the inhale. Pause. Slow, steady exhalation out. You can exhale out through the nose or the mouth. I find exhaling out through the mouth a little bit easier for me to kind of soften and relax into my body. Start to feel the muscles relax on that exhalation. And just a few more rounds here, and notice how you're feeling on that exhalation, noticing if there's a shift in your energy or a shift in your mode of being right now. So maybe you've arrived this afternoon or this evening alert, or feeling a particular way. And just noticing as you exhale, releasing more out of the body, out of your sphere from within you, out of your aura, out of the body. Noticing if there's a shift within you. Just doing a few more rounds now. Slowing down that exhalation, not forcing the breath out. And then I want you to come back to that space of stillness and just let go of the need to control the breath and just allow the inflow and the outflow to resume in a way that just comes naturally to you. Spending another few moments settling into this space of stillness. And just doing a small body scan and noticing if you're holding on to any tension in the body. Maybe just give the elbows a little shake. Maybe you want to turn the palms to face up. Maybe you want to bring the palms into the mat, into the lap. Maybe the shoulders just need a few movements and then they can sink, relax, let go, any tension around the jaw, and the lips part, rest the tongue at the top of the mouth, eyes soft. And if you want to set an intention for this practice, or you want to, let's say, set a goal that anything needs to be achieved, but just set some awareness for yourself. If there was going to be a theme of this class, it's end of year reflections and self-love. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be moving through the practice and seeing if you can move with self-love, seeing if you can move in a way that feels good for you. You know, the mind and our sort of external conditioned way of being, society's conditioning, we tell us to strive, to do more, to work harder. And this practice is for you. This practice is for you to take a little bit of balance, so balancing that yang world with the yin. And just getting a little bit more grounded and a little bit more centered, letting go of any of the shoulds and the words and the pressures and the external ways of being. And just settling into the you, the here, the now, and feeling inwards, and getting connected to that introspection. And that's sort of the gift of self-love within itself. If you haven't already and you'd like to put some music on, we're going to come to tabletop as our first posture. So coming up onto your knees, placing the palms underneath the shoulders, closing down the eyes and just pausing here for a moment and just feeling into the body, feeling into the weight. Feeling the fingertips as the weight evenly distributed between the hands, the fingertips, the thumbs. Maybe you could shift the weight back ever so slightly towards the hips, letting the fingertips become softer, less pressure into the earth beneath you. We begin on an inhalation, bringing the stomach towards the mat, curling the spine, so pushing the chin, the chest, and the tailbone up to the sky, stretching that front part of the body, stretching into the chest. Inhaling, and on your exhalation, pushing the shoulder blades, pushing the back up towards the sky. Slowly reversing, coming back, inhaling. Exhaling, soft with the elbows as well. We don't need to be sharp with the body. We just want to be finding a nice flow for ourselves. So you guys might be moving at a slower pace than I am. I challenge you to even slow the pace down even more, following your breath. You don't need to be rigid with the hands or the arms or the knees. Perhaps you want to move the body from side to side and stretch into the side body. Not needing to follow the rules of a cat-cow, but just moving your body in a way that starts to release into the muscles. It's starting to release a little bit of tension in the rib cage, the shoulders. Find an area of tension that feels good. Hold there for a few extra moments, taking a few breaths. Remember, we're not wanting to be rigid. We're wanting to bring in a softening into the body, into the muscles, into the fingertips. Just a few more rounds, a few more wiggles, a few more stretches. Last few. and gently coming back to neutral. Bringing the toes together behind the body and just coming to sit back on the ankles. Walking the hands forward, forehead to connect with the earth. Child's pose. Taking a few deep breaths here, breathing fully into your lower belly, exhaling completely, sinking a little bit deeper into the earth on that exhalation. Last breath. Slowly rising up to tabletop. And from here, we're going to walk the hands forward. So walking both hands forward, bringing the chest down, keeping the hips up. Perhaps the chin or the forehead connect with the earth, stretching now into all the way down those arms, into your armpit, the biceps. Maybe you can feel the stretch down the side of the body as well. If there's any sensitivity with the shoulders, you can bend the elbows and bring the elbows a little bit closer into the body. And again, continuing to take a couple of deep breaths here. So breathing deeply into the lower belly, and as you exhale, can you feel the body sinking a little bit deeper? Soften around the toes, soften around the ankles. And just a few more breaths here, breathing deeply into that stretch down the arms and the side of the body, that lung and the heart meridian and the external shape of the body. Last few breaths. And then when you're ready on your exhalation, we're just going to bring the seat back down onto our heels and bring the hands down the side of the body for resting child's pose. Just letting the elbows hang to the sides of the body, letting the shoulders hang forward. Again, you can always take a deep inhalation, exhale, really release into the posture, letting go. We're starting to juicing up into the joints now, starting to get these connective tissues all juicy. Just a few more breaths. Bringing the hands forward once again, we're going to rise up to that tabletop. From here, we're going to transition into a dragon pose. So we're going to bring the right foot to the outside of the right hand. You may just want to walk that right foot out to the right side or a little bit further in front of you. Also, if you've got blocks, you may want to come up onto the blocks, depending on how this posture feels for you. Different variations. Again, having a little play at the beginning of every posture. Find that sweet spot. So that spot where you're sort of comfortable with the tension of the posture. Taking a few deep breaths, letting the body invite you to go deeper. So not forcing yourself to go deeper. Remember, we're going to be in a yin practice. So we're going to be here for a couple of minutes. You may even find that the ankle of the right foot rolls out to the side. Taking a few deep breaths, inhaling fully, connecting into your center, exhaling out tension. If there's any sensitivity with the back knee, gently release yourself from the posture and place a little bit of extra support. Otherwise, we're going to be here for another 45 seconds or so. Staying connected to that breath, following the inhale, and as you connect to the exhale, sinking a little bit deeper, getting a little bit softer, not just physically, but also with the mind. So soft with the thoughts, noticing the quality and the tone of the thoughts that are arising. Is there an inner critic? Is there an expectation? Is there something there that you can exhale out and release and let go of? Any external demands or any inner critic that tells you that you are not exactly whole as you are immediately right now in this moment isn't needed here. So last few breaths. Inhaling fully, exhaling completely. Wherever you are, bringing the palms back onto the mat or onto your blocks. You slowly release, bringing the sole of the foot onto the mat. I'm just going to take the weight towards the back of the mat, straightening that front leg. So how it looks for me may look different to you. The idea is just to release the muscles and the tissue around that outside right hip. Slowly coming back to the top of your mat. We're going to prepare now for pigeon or sleeping swan. So bringing that right ankle over to the left side. Perhaps you have a straight leg here, or perhaps the foot's a lot more tucked underneath the pelvis or the pubic bones. Taking the block, supporting the seat, and then starting to bring the body down. That back leg, you may want to move it a little bit over to the left or to the right. You don't need a perfect alignment of the hips, but the idea is we want to have the chest and the body forward. Again, feeling into the compression in that outside hip. You may be feeling a stretch at the front of that left thigh as well. Starting to sink a little bit deeper, breathing deeply into the lower belly and exhaling. We'll be here for 2.5 minutes, seeing how much you can sink in and release into the posture. Taking any adjustments that you need. It's when we're in this space of silence, this space without the distractions, that we can really observe the mind, observe the thoughts, observe the confusions that are arising. And we always strive to need an answer, wanting to know the outcome, clinging to and craving the certainty within the uncertainty. And really what so much of that tells us, or tells me when I'm experiencing it, is that there's a lack of trust, that I don't trust myself to be able to navigate through the uncertainty. And this can be an example of when we are in a space of depletion, when we are not conserving our energy, but instead allowing our energy to be leaked into people and places that are maybe not serving us. So as we connect to the breath here, and as we settle and soften in a little bit deeper to the postures, the shapes, and just starting to check in with ourselves and let ourselves know that we are held and supported. Just starting to deepen that inner knowing, that intuition, and that trust. Trust that you will be able to navigate yourself through anything and everything that arises. Last few breaths. And wherever you are, again, coming up onto the palms, walking the hands into the body. And then we're going to take the weight into that outside right hip. And just bring both legs out in front of you. And just have a little shake with the legs. May want to give the hips a tap, thighs a tap, maybe the insides of the legs. And just shaking up that energy. You start to activate those meridians now. And just shake with the legs. Forward butterfly. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Again, if you have a block or a cushion to support the forehead as you bring the head down, and just playing with the position of the feet. You may want the feet closer into the body. That will intense, or for some of us will intense the stretch that we feel in the inner thighs. The legs are a bit further away. That may be a little bit more comfortable. If anyone has any sensitivity with the lower back, keep the back straight. You may be able to place the elbows on a block or on the floor to support the head. But again, we're going to be here for 2.5 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes. So just connecting and finding that soft spot, that sweet spot. That space that you can really start to soften, release, and to connect into the stillness, connect into yourself. Just watch those thoughts. Watch the emotions that are attached to them. Watch where the mind goes. This is our indicator. If you're feeling confused, if you're feeling frustrated, where can you better sharpen your boundaries to protect yourself, your energy? You're in a space of calm and grounding. You can be clearer about your decisions, not to say that life will always be peachy and perfect. But inevitably, when life has its storms, we have this inner trust and we have this conserved energy to navigate through with an inner knowing of our direction, knowing what serves us and who we want to accompany us on that journey. And with the breath, a slow and soft and steady inhale, extending the exhalation. Maybe the body invites you to go deeper for the second half of this posture. Last couple of breaths. Very gently using the hands to support you, bringing the head of the chest up. Use the hands to bring the knees together, soles of the feet onto the mat. Placing the hands either side of you and just gently rock the knees from side to side, nice and gently and slow. You might start to really feel it now around the hips. Noticing if you're feeling a warmth or a cooling in the body. Noticing those subtle vibrations, those subtle energetic changes. Taking any movements, legs a little shake. We're slowly going to make our way back to that tabletop. Continuing the sequence on the other side. So from tabletop, we're just going to take the left foot to the outside of that left hand. And then finding the position you want to be in to hold for our dragon. So it may be that you want to walk that left foot over to the left side. It may be that you want to support the body with a little bit of extra height if this is intense enough. You may want to come all the way down onto blocks. And again, just having a few moments, just playing with the different variations. Don't assume that one side's going to feel or look the same as the other. It can be nicer to maybe move the body away from the hip to change the intensity. The target area is the outside left hip. Taking a few deep breaths. And just finding variation for you that feels good. Inhaling fully, exhaling completely, and just allowing yourself to really settle into that posture, really sink in. Five seconds left. Notice what's coming up for you. Notice what emotions or what mood seems to be haunting you during this class. Is it one of ease and peace and calm? Or is it one of frustration or impatience? And again, not needing to know the answer or the reason, just allowing that to be present and allowing your awareness to accept that. Last couple of breaths. Wherever you are, safely starting to bring the body up. Using the palms to support us, we're going to shift the weight to the back of the mat onto that back leg as we straighten this front leg. Just releasing around that left hip. Maybe you point the toes. Gently coming forward and preparing for that sleeping swan or that dragon pose. Sorry, sleeping swan or pigeon. So that left knee behind the left ankle. Maybe you want to straighten that back leg. Bring the top of the ankle onto the mat. And then starting to take the body down. If you need to support with a folded blanket or something underneath the seat, always bringing the body a bit further down, maybe just starting to come up onto the forearms, supporting the chin. Just doing a short body scan here. Notice if you're holding onto any tension, any clenching in the body. If you're pulling it tight with the muscles, that means that the body's not fully supported and can't relax. So maybe just bring the body up a little bit. Using the breath to guide you. Take it nice and slow. We don't need to start these postures off at the deepest level. Usually after a few moments, the body will naturally start to soften. And very slowly, maybe you start to take it a little bit deeper as the posture works its way into the body. Half a minute left. Last few breaths. Again, starting to feel into the support you need to release, bringing the head and the chest up. Transitioning, taking the weight into the outside left seat bone. We're going to bring both legs out in front of us and come to lie on our backs for a rebound. So allow the legs to be about mat distance apart. Coming to lie all the way back, arms above your head. Exhale. Just releasing everything out of the body. Just taking a few deep breaths in. Breathing deeply into the lower belly, exhaling out, arms above your head, releasing completely. Just come to stillness in that rebound, lying on your backs, just feeling into the body, feeling where you feel the sensations. Noticing how you feel on the left side of the body compared to the right side. Letting the mouth and the jaw be soft. That space in between your eyebrows soften. Just allow yourself to be fully surrendered into the posture of relaxation. Just taking this moment to pause before we continue. And just to notice and reflect, where is your mind? Where are your thoughts? Where is your energy focusing? What is it that's consuming you? And do these things support and nourish you, or do they deplete and drain you? Is it anxiety about a person? Is it anxiety about the future? Is it expectations not being met? Where can you release and let go? Surround yourself with the things that nourish you. In these months, in these moments of winter, of yin, it is our deepest time to rest, aligning to the season. For a few days, I lost my way, and the past came roaring back, covering my eyes while old impulses took their chance to reign over my mind. I let myself get caught in the hurricane of yesterday, sampling my old home, remembering its walls and the limits, feeling once again all the reasons why I decided to move on. The joy was empty, and what once felt fun fell flat. I could not live comfortably in a home that was too small for my recent expansion. I felt an immense wave of guilt for taking a few steps back, but then it hit me. Re-experiencing these old patterns and ways of being was the motivation that I needed to finally close the door and no longer feed the actions that could only lead me in circles. Just taking a deep breath in, deep breath out. We come to our final posture of the evening. We're going to come to a lying spinal twist. We're going to be holding this posture for 3.5 minutes each side. So if you do have blocks, or if you do have something to support you in the posture so that we can hold for a little bit longer, make sure that you get that. Maybe it's just a blanket. Maybe you don't need anything. Staying lying on your backs. Bringing your knees into your chest, bringing the arms out to the side, and just taking the knees over to the right side. You can take the gaze towards the left. And if you need to place a block or some support underneath the knees, perhaps a block in between the knees, depending on how the hips are. As you find position, the variation of a lying spinal twist that feels most supportive, most comfortable for you, just taking a few deep breaths when you get there. Of course, taking any movements to readjust so that you can get comfortable, and then just starting to settle in. Taking those last deep breaths in. Exhaling completely, sinking a little bit deeper, surrendering fully into the posture for these last 30 seconds. And just start by bringing the head back to center. Very slowly bringing knees into your chest as you roll onto your back, and just pause here for a moment. And very slowly, gently rolling over to the left side. Again, perhaps the gaze goes towards the right fingertips. Making any adjustments that you need to settle into this side of the posture. And then starting to connect to that stillness. Just less than a minute left. And just starting to feel into the body, recognizing that connection between what the thoughts have been, the physical body within you. So as you think about or reflect on your energy, where it's been leaked out, where you could maybe have tighter boundaries. How does that feel for you? There's this need to be people pleasing, especially around the holidays and with our families, plans of what we do for Christmas, who we spend it with. And so much of that can feel really tight in our bodies. So it can make our jaw tight, our fists tight, shoulders tense, make it really difficult to relax and to soften in. So as you notice these things, does your body react with ease, or does your body react with defense? And again, it's just allowing ourselves to have that awareness of how things are for us, and perhaps we need to take things a little bit gentler or a little bit softer with ourselves as we approach the holidays and this season of people pleasing, or this season of being externally focused, and balance that with the yin. Create time and space for ourselves, have better boundaries for our self-care, our self-love. Bringing your head back to center, rolling onto your backs and just keeping your knees into your chest. Maybe just having a little rock with the legs from side to side. And then preparing for our Shavasana, bringing the forehead up to the knees, easing the body nice and tight, taking any last movements that you want. If the music is on, you can start to dim or turn off the sound. As you settle into that Shavasana, as you settle into final resting. No more movement, no more engaging in the body, just completely surrendering into this stillness now, allowing your body to absorb the nourishment, the practice. Maybe just take a few last conscious, controlled, deep breaths, breathing fully in. As you exhale, just letting the whole body surrender and settle into that space. Shavasana stillness. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one to please, nothing to achieve. And just allowing to hold yourself here in full acceptance of all that you are. For a few days, I lost my way, and the past came roaring back, covering my eyes while old impulses took their chance to reign over my mind. I let myself get caught in the hurricane of yesterday, sampling my old home, remembering its walls and its limits, feeling once again all of the reasons why I decided to move on. The joy was empty, and what was once fun fell flat. I could not live comfortably in a home too small for my recent expansion. I felt an immense wave of guilt for taking a few steps back. But then it hit me that re-experiencing these old patterns and ways of being was the motivation I needed to finally close the door and no longer feed the actions that could only lead me in circles. So starting to deepen your breath. Taking any gentle movements, maybe moving the head from left to right. Maybe reaching your arms up above your head and having a big stretch. And just taking your time to come out of the Shavasana. Maybe just bringing your knees into your chest and just rocking over to one side and lying here for the last few moments, connecting to that yin, that slowness, that gentle, soft approach to your body, to your mind, to your energy. Not jumping into the yang, not jumping into the need to move, to react, to engage. And very slowly making your way back up to seated, and we're going to sit for final meditation. We're going to sit for a couple of minutes. We're getting comfortable in that seat. I want us to come back to that intention or intentional awareness of boundaries and noticing or deciding or recognizing if we are depleted in our energy or if we're feeling restored in our energy, and thinking about the things, in fact, not even consciously thinking, just allowing what comes up, that inner knowing, that intuition to guide you, to tell you what is depleting your energy and what can you let go of. Where can you move more into a space of restoring your energy? That is the ultimate self-care, self-love for yourselves. Moving into a space of resting, rejuvenating, no people pleasing, no externally focused living. We overcomplicate healing, we overcomplicate ways to support ourselves, and it can really be so simple. It's lying still in a quiet room with some calming music for an hour. Letting go of any negative habits, late night Netflix. Just allowing yourself space to move into restoring, rejuvenating, grounding and centering, allowing clarity to be present in your life. Placing one hand over your heart center, one hand on your lower belly. Just feeling into those spaces, your heart, lower belly, your gut, areas in knowing, feel it in your gut if your boundaries are being pushed. Feel it in your heart, those real wants and needs to better serve yourself. Allow the two to become connected, to empower you as you move forward, as you navigate these final weeks of the year. And stepping into the space of who you want to be the years to come. And bringing your palms together at heart center and taking a bow and giving thanks to ourselves for designating time for this practice. Namaste. Thank you all so much.